Hey guys, welcome to Utterly Unfiltered with
Tash
and Cara. Thank you so much for coming back this week. We have another lot of talking in store.
That's what we do.
It's all I can guarantee.
Okay, we first of all have to talk about how the UK has been having summer early.
Don't say that because I guarantee you.
I've been saying it like every single day for the last 2 weeks. But you know, it's actually going to end on Monday. It's going to rain.
I know, but we need the rain. We actually need the rain.
I know. The plants need the rain. I don't need the rain.
We're in a drought. Also, by the way, if you could get rid of any species in the whole planet, what would it be?
Spiders.
Okay, but it should be
spiders
humans.
Eat the flies.
It should be humans.
Why?
Because we're stuffing up the planet. Sorry. Just talking on like, oh, no. I don't know. That came up in work.
Are you passionate about climate change, Car?
Well, I just think we are. In fact, I started the conversation because I threw a curveball and I said to, it's something to do with how someone has bred some kind of animal. They brought back some kind of animal. We've brought back an animal that we made extinct. And then I said about like the debate of should we or shouldn't we? Like if we've made an animal go extinct, do we have a responsibility to try and reintroduce them? Yeah. Or do we just leave it alone?
Live and let die.
Live and let die. And that's how the conversation started. My belief is very much like live and let die. Like if we fucked it, like sorry. Although I would like to see the white rhino back. Like that's really, really sad. Anyways, I contradicted myself. But that was my question. Then I was like, well, what species would you be rid of? And a lot of people were like sharks or spiders, whatever. And then someone popped up and they were like humans.
And you were like fairs.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. We are the biggest killer of the planet. So. Yeah. Anyway,
you're absolutely correct, to be honest with you. But I like
taking us there.
I enjoy being human, so I don't really want to kill off my species.
I think it's very confusing.
It is, but isn't that's the joy of life?
No, I would love to be a dog to a good owner.
Really?
Yeah.
I would not.
Just sniff.
You'd actually not be a human and be a dog instead.
Oh no, I would actually be a human.
Yeah,
I could never not want to be a human. So I know. We're actually writing a book. I have a creative writing workshop at work.
Nice.
And the story is all about, it's like a metaphor for change and metamorphosis and accepting yourself for who you are. So the premise of the book is there's a little caterpillar. Or I thought it was a worm for the whole time, and then I was like, no, actually caterpillars go into butterflies. My bad. So it's a caterpillar called Roger. Aww. And Roger looks at all the other animals, his bunnies, foxes, squirrels, and it thinks, oh, I want to be them. Like, they look like they have so much fun. Like, squirrels get to climb up the trees, and the foxes, like, hunt everyone, and they're all, like... So, the butterfly fairy godmother comes along, says you can be all of these different animals, and then if you have one that you really want to be, I'll grant you your wish of being this animal.
Amazing.
And then the whole message of the book is going to be that it tries all these animals, but it realizes all the downsides to them as well.
Yeah.
And then it learns not to compare itself. And then it learns actually, no, it wants to be a caterpillar. And then as its reward, it then transforms into a butterfly.
Yeah.
Lives for 2 days and dies. But anyway, we don't.
We digress.
Anyways, that was my point. It's like, you can only be what you can have to just embrace who you are. I've spiraled us.
You have massively. I mean, you were the one who said you wanted to be a dog. I'm happy being a human. Don't know why you're telling me that.
This is what happens.
I already knew.
When we do podcasting on a Friday night at 9 o'clock.
It is 9 p.m. for us now. So we're talking about this beautiful sunny weather we're having at the moment. It's pitch black outside. So, I mean, you can't see a damn thing right now. But
it's true.
It has been glorious. And I am like, literally, I belong in the sun. I'm one of those cats that like lasers in the sunshine.
I'm a comedian.
Honestly, it was the best thing today about like the train being so delayed and everything, as I had like 30 minutes at like Colchester station. I was just stood there in the sunshine, just like although I didn't put SPF on today because I was only expecting to be getting on and off trains. I wasn't expecting to be sitting in the sun and bathing. So I have SPF free sun on my skin.
I never wear sun cream. I should.
Really?
I never do.
God,
no, I should every day.
You have very little wrinkles for somebody who doesn't wear sun cream.
I know.
That's very impressive.
But my parents know. Like, my dad has got phenomenal skin. He's never worn sun cream in his life.
Really?
Weird, right? Because we're from South Africa, you think. Where there's scorching sun. And he's out all the time in South Africa. But I very much my moods are regulated by the weather.
Oh my God,
I've learned this about myself. I used to judge, admission time. I used to judge people who said that they had SAD, like seasonal anxiety disorder. I was like, come on, suck it up. The last 2 summers I have been winters I've been miserable. Yeah. And the last 2 summers I've been like ecstatic, and I'm like, yeah, it's a thing.
It's a thing, yeah.
It's a thing.
Luckily, I think I've it's not happening for me Oh my god, what was that? Oh, the light's gone off.
Spooky.
Oh, that means the light's dead. Okay, I might have to turn the big light on then.
Okay.
How unfortunate. Brief intermission, guys, whilst we turn the big light on. Apologies for the glow it's going to cast on our face.
Oh, it's just going to be terrible lighting.
We're about to look 17 years older. But,
17 or 17 could go either way.
Either way. But at least you can see us. That's a pro. Yeah, no, when I was at uni, when I was at school, I used to get it so bad. Like, 100%. I was miserable every single... Like, February specifically was really bad.
Okay.
But the last couple of years, I've been fine. But I think it's honestly a couple of reasons. Like, one is I've been moving or doing things during that month. So, therefore, it's like, you don't have time.
True.
You're just, like, moving around. Or, like, I feel like I make so much more of an effort now to make the most of my winters.
Yeah.
Because they're so depressing. Like, that, like, whole post-Christmas to now
horrible.
period.
February is just disgusting.
So
January,
grim.
at least you're like, I'm going to do all these cool things this year. Like, January, new year, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And whether it happens or not, but you're always optimistic.
Yeah.
And you've just had Christmas and you're getting into, like, I don't know, like a healthier exercise regime, whatever. February, oh my god.
And the thing with February
lasts
too is that I think we think it's really short because it's 28 days, but it's only 2 to 3 days shorter.
It lasts so long.
It's like literally nothing. So it's not actually any shorter. So we expect it to be short, and then when it lasts forever, we're surprised, even though we are literally talking about a 2 to 3 day difference. Like, it's very minimal.
I'm never surprised. I always think it's dreadful. But also March goes a little bit, it's tricky because it's like, I always will it to come sooner than it is. I'm always like ready. I'm like, okay, it's March. I'm ready for spring. And March is never ready for spring as well.
Yeah.
So April time.
It's when it picks up.
My birthday, but that's where I reflected. I'm like, the climate has been so varied the last few years because I've literally had birthdays where I'm in a dress and I'm sweltering.
Yeah.
Versus in a coat and jumper and I'm freezing.
Yeah.
And it's obviously the same every year.
Yeah, it's like no difference. Yeah.
Early April is a dodgy one.
So
It could go either way.
Yeah.
Could go either way.
So it's been beautiful at the moment. I've been loving it so much. We've had like pizza nights in the garden,
Nice.
and now the clocks have changed. It's lighter in
That's
the evenings, and it's just honestly been heaven.
That's nice.
Have you done anything like springy, summery yet?
Springy, summery. No.
No.
No, I can't say I've even done like picnics or.
Well, you need to.
I've enjoyed like my jogs, like the summer jogs. Like, during the day and in the evenings because I don't have to do the treadmill anymore. Because I was doing the treadmill because it was dark and cold when I got home. But now I'm like actually going out into the fields and it feels like it extends my day.
Oh yeah.
So I think just by a slight change in my activity or / routine, it's been very, and like going for walks at work. Like in the lunch break, I'll go for a walk.
Really?
Now, and there's like a lovely little village, and there's some guys that always go, and like there's two guys that there was only one, and he's got a friend now. They metal detect in a field. It's so sweet to watch them. It's just so nice to watch them.
That's
such a weird
so
thing,
cute.
But it's so nice to watch because they're just living their lives. Simple pleasures, trying to find gold. Hope they find some.
Yeah. Quick reminder that Norfolk's middle of nowhere, guys. So,
which means
hence why when you leave your work, you get to walk through a cute village and see some fields.
I thought you were gonna be like,
as opposed to like a Tesco Express and some gangsters hanging out outside an ATM or something.
You're right. I thought maybe we've got like unearthed gold in this county. It could be a thing.
I mean that would be crazy, wouldn't it?
Fields, yeah, whereas everywhere else that's built up, you're never going to find it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to get me a metal detector.
I would love to work in an office where you could just like go for a nice walk in the countryside outside of work.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I will tell you what though, it's always like you always sort of take it for granted, right? And you always want the next big thing. But when I went to Australia and when I went into Perth one day, into the city, there's a park, there's like a national, it's like a botanical garden as well, but it's a massive park, Kings Park or something.
On the hill?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Cass, my friend, who I stayed with her, she joined me for her lunch break.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, I walk here on my lunch break. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That view, that like,
so amazing,
God, just for like a little half an hour lunch break stroll. Like, what the F? But
and it's such a nice running track that as well, because you can run the whole way along the harbour. So it's like, there's like did you remember like there's like a bike lane and a person lane.
Yes.
So you can run the whole way along the harbour, and then if you want to run uphill, you can run up to the top of the park and down the other side, then back into town. That's quite a hill though, isn't it? It is. It'd be quite hard to. Well, it does like the whole. It goes like this and this, doesn't it? You know, like it goes the whole. Rather than going like straight up, you can go like zigzag across
true.
the hill. But yes, beautiful.
Beautiful.
So beautiful. Honestly. Well, I brought my running stuff with me to Norfolk so I can go for a run tomorrow.
Ooh.
I would invite you, but you got like literally
No, I have
17
such
million
a
things to do.
no, there's no
She
chance
could
I'm
hardly
gonna
even fit the
knock
podcast in, guys, let alone a run. So
But that was my fault because you obviously Tash is great at like scheduling these in advance. But then I had a hen party come up and I was like, oh.
can't be helped. But this is the whole reason why we schedule these things in advance, is because then at least we can
work
find a
around it
gap.
a little bit. Yeah, right.
Otherwise, if I hadn't, we just wouldn't have recorded this
No,
weekend.
true, we wouldn't
So
have.
it's
No, we
like
wouldn't.
it holds us both accountable. Like we can be flexible. We have 3 days of a weekend.
Yeah, it's
We
true.
can be flexible on those 3
we are.
days.
This is why we're here at 9 o'clock. It's not the wouldn't have been the first choice.
No, but that's just what we're
Would've
gonna
done a
do
Saturday
because
graft,
we are grinding. So
We're hustling.
we're committing.
Yeah.
Alrighty,
Oh.
well, we should talk about the topic of today's
Oh my
episode.
god, are we actually going to do an actual topic of an episode?
We are actually. This is the first
Oh,
one. We're in the
sit
third
down.
episode in.
Sit
And
down.
I just went third episode in, but I opened all of my hands. We're in the third episode in. I don't
Well,
know
if you
what
made
that
two
was
of your
about.
fingers invisible, it would make sense. Which ones were you? Which ones were you going to choose? Oh yeah, there you go.
These ones. What? What is happening?
Third episode in.
Do you do third like this?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I do third like this.
Oh, no,
Like a
wait.
Girl Scout.
No, hold on. You do third.
If you would do
this.
like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh no, I
5.
do this. 3. Yeah, 2, 3. Oh.
Wow, bitches!
Oh my god, it's like Spider-Man. Anyways, let's refocus.
Okay,
So,
you know what's inspired this episode is, and then hopefully
It's our
you
strengths,
can
isn't it?
spin off. Hopefully you can spin off this
Oh.
is basically I was thinking this the other day. And you know when you're just brushing your teeth and you come up with this crazy thought and you're like, man,
time.
that was so insightful.
hot damn. Well, yeah.
And then I was telling Ali about it in the car today, or I think it was today or yesterday, I can't remember. And I was like, this is just like such a good life lesson that I need to remember for myself. This is something I need to remember. And
Ooh.
I mean, like many of our podcast episodes, right?
Okay,
We're talking about things I'm building up.
suspense.
I'm building up
Okay,
suspense.
I'm ready.
This is called marketing. No, I'm joking.
Oh, no, cliffhanger. Come back next week.
This is called a
to
hook,
find out.
Cara. I
Oh.
don't know if you've heard of
No,
these
no,
things,
no.
but you know, with your whole
Fish
3
hook,
second
Marlene.
thing. But
Okay.
um,
Point taken.
oh, I've lost train of thought now.
Oh, sorry. Profound thought over brushing your teeth.
Yes, and I was thinking about no,
Telling
that
Ali,
wasn't it.
and it was like going
That
to be
wasn't it.
fundamental.
That
And
wasn't
then
it.
you're building suspense. Is this part of the ruse?
No, you just lost me, unfortunately. I can't remember what I was gonna say, but anyways,
no.
I know the story. I just can't remember where I was going. I was going with something,
Okay.
and I've lost the something I was going with.
Okay.
So now I'm just gonna tell the story.
Fine.
So, basically, the thing I was thinking about is at my current company, one of the feedbacks I get from my manager a lot is that she can kind of like trust me to get on with my work and to like progress and everything, and she's definitely not a micromanager because I ask so many questions.
Yeah.
So I ask a lot of questions, and I just do. I don't even think about it. I'm not like thinking to myself like I need to ask questions so it looks like I'm engaged. No, I just need answers.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm always asking that like one extra question. So like if we're in a call with like somebody who's like on the tech team or something, and they're telling me like we need this and this thing for a client, I'm gonna ask why do we need those things, and if they tell me why, I'm gonna be like, and what does that mean? And if they tell me what that means, I'm like, and how do we
gonna
do
dig.
that?
You're gonna dig
like,
the-
and it's not. I'm not trying to be annoying. I just want to know the reason, because sometimes it's very easy to just throw words out there like we need this XYZ from you, from the client, and have a tech team will tell me, and I'll tell the client, and I'm like, I don't even understand what that means.
Yeah,
so now I'm asking this person, and maybe they do know, but also maybe they don't. Like,
Sure.
we work with a range of clients of different levels of technical knowledge, and like there's a chance that there's someone who's just like me who has the very bare minimum and is learning as they go, and therefore you throw this like request at them and they're like, what does that mean? And it's overwhelming, and then they won't do it, and then we'll be 3 weeks down the line, they've not done anything, and I'm thinking to myself, why? Probably because I don't understand the question.
Sure. You haven't
So-
got the information you need to.
Yeah, I wouldn't reply
action.
to an email from a company that I was working with if they were like asking me for all these things I didn't know. I'd probably go and be like, find someone else and be like, do you know what this means or whatever?
Sure,
and that
sure.
then they got to get back to me, and then I got to ask someone else, and they go, and it just, you
This
end up
is long-winded.
creating this whole thing. So I'm always asking more and more questions so I can understand more and more and more. And it's just a positive piece of feedback that I receive, and I think it's what allows me, like, 8 weeks in or whatever, to be pretty much sustainable or whatever at the moment, within reason. I ask a lot less questions now than I did before, if that makes sense, because most things I am getting better at still stuff I do not know anything about, like the tech stuff, and I'm asking for more and more. I want them to train me on it. I want to understand what it means. You know, I'm just always asking for more, basically.
Sure.
And I was like that at my first company. That was a piece of feedback that I received a lot there, and I kind of forgotten about it until I heard this the other day, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, no, like, I've definitely heard that before. And I was thinking back to my first manager, and I was like, no, he did used to say that, like, you know, I was always very well organized, and I always asked questions, and I was never afraid to ask those questions, and never embarrassed to ask stupid questions, or even like questions that sometimes I'll write a message like in Slack, and I'll be like, wait, no, I know that, and I'll just strike through it. You know, like with this little, you can edit and strike through. And like, I'm not embarrassed that I asked a question I know the answer to. Sometimes I'll be like, sorry, that was stupid. I actually have the answer. But like, you know, I'm always just going to keep asking. And that's feedback I got at my first company as well. But in my second company, so the one that I was only there for 3 months, 2 months in, I had like a meeting with the CEO who I worked with, and he said to me, because things weren't going well, they were so annoying, they were micromanaging everything I was doing, I couldn't do anything right, I was constantly trying to get time in with them, and their calendars were blocked out for 10 days, you know, in the future, and I'd ask a question and I'd get the response of, let's book some time to talk about it, find a gap in my calendar, I'd find a gap in your calendar in 12 days time or something. So then that'd be pushed 12 days later, and I was never ever getting anywhere with them, and it was all, you know, both of the people I worked with were like that. And he said to me during that thing, you know, the problem is, Tash, is you're not asking enough questions. And at the time, I took that as, oh shit, I'm not asking enough questions, I need to ask more questions. I didn't see, no, actually, if I go back through our team's messages, I can see about 1 million questions that you've not answered. So, but I took what he said as gospel. I was like, yeah, no, definitely, you're right. I haven't asked enough questions. It's my fault I've not progressed far. In the 8 weeks I've been at that company versus the 8 weeks I've been at this company,
it's a different story.
We're in completely different places. They are the same job. Neither one is better or worse. I'm the same person. My knowledge of these things is not, I did not self-teach myself this stuff whilst I was unemployed, guys. I did not care. Like, this is not rocket science we're talking about here at all. And I remember saying at that company, like, oh, but you don't know what you don't know. And that was kind of my excuse. But what I've realized is that, like, the wrong person, so in this case we're talking about the company, but the wrong company or the wrong person will make you doubt things about yourself that are not true. And like, that company, that middle company, made me doubt something that's actually very key to who I am. Which is that I am curious, I am a problem solver, I am always thinking 2 steps ahead.
A bigger picture person.
I'm not just wanting the answer, I'm wanting to know why the answer's happening, and how, and how important is it, and is there flexibility, and, you know, I don't just want answer A, I want the possible answer B and C too, just in case I'm preempting what the next thing the client or whoever would say.
Which is a massive skill.
And
not everyone has
waiting,
the foresight or the interest in that.
Well, I don't want every email to be a case of I have to wait 2 to 3 working days because I'm waiting for someone else. So I always want to be 1 step ahead. And literally being at the wrong company will make you doubt something that's so core to yourself. And it feeds into, sorry, no, you go. But because I've just been rambling.
No, I agree. You say what you were going to say.
I was going to say that it works in other areas of your life too.
That's like exactly what I was going to say.
There you go.
Like relationships.
Like the wrong relationship will make you doubt, like if you are with the wrong person, and you know you're funny, right? If you're with the wrong person, you will start to doubt your humor. You know, if they you know, for example, I dated a guy once, and if I said to him, you know, oh, you know, you're being silly, you're being, you know, like, you know, like, oh, you know, dumb or whatever, like, you know, like in a jokey way, like a light way, like someone does something, and like you just like kind of like kiddie it, I guess, like in a cute...
when you kind of, when you banter with them or you tease,
and he'd be like, you know, like, oh, like, I don't like the way you talk to me when you call me things, say things like that or whatever, and I'd be like, oh my god, maybe I am really rude, you know, maybe it's not nice that I'm calling him an idiot, like maybe you know, or maybe I can see how, like, you know, or perhaps to say idiot to somebody that you care about is actually like,
oh, you're so silly,
or whatever. It's like offensive, but it's like,
but
it's not,
because
though.
You know where it's coming from,
like,
but you
not.
doubt it.
It's just like it. I don't know what it is. It's just
But it's the same with, and like, I always come back to this in weird podcast episodes about this same thing in different ways, that it always is relevant somehow. It's like, what's congruent to you? And I have this with, so even friendships, right? If you have spent time with someone and you end up doubting who you are, they're probably not the right person for you to be spending time with.
Yeah.
Versus, if you spend time with someone and you kind of reaffirm every kind of quality that you believe to be true in yourself, and then it feels more like who you are and more congruent with who you are / who you want to be. And it's so true. Like, if you are ever in a situation where you end up, the things that you used to be proud of, or the things that you're, like, for example, right, my equivalent to that, and this is something that I identify as my strength in workplace relationships and in general relationships, strength and a weakness at times, but I do think I am able to, or I'm interested in connecting with people. So I feel like I'm a very, like, active listener. So if I can generally get on well with anyone, like, I'm not saying I'm going to be friends with anyone, but I can generally, like, get to know
It's
anyone.
that you can talk to a brick wall type situation.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Or, like, I'll know how to judge. And it's a strength in my job in the sense of, like, not just with colleagues, but, like, with the kids that I work with at the school. Like, I will pick out something that they're interested in, like skateboarding or Stitch or crocheting or whatever, and I will know enough about it or know how to ask the right questions enough to engage them and to be able to have a conversation with them about it. So I think it's a strength in the sense of, like, I can relationship build and build rapport and sort of people skills my way through life. It's a bit of a weakness in the sense of, like, I sort of lose myself in that a little bit, and I don't know that I'm always, like, who I am, as opposed to just reflecting who they are back at them kind of vibes, to get deep about it. But for example, so where I'm going with this is, like, sometimes I doubt that's a skill, where I have these moments where, like, I've been with someone and maybe I've connected really, like, on a deeper level with someone, with a friend or whatever, and I feel like that's something that I enjoy. But then if it's like, if they sort of, like, are for whatever reason not as open to it on a specific day, and I'm asking the, like, more serious questions, and they'll be, like, inconsistent with their response, and then they'll, instead of just explaining to me, look, like, I can't go there today, it's a bit hectic, like, they'll say something like a knockoff response of, oh, like, come on, like, it's only like 9 a.m. on a Monday, like, can we save this kind of thing?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh shit, like, I'm too intense, like, I'm too much, like, there's too much of it, like, oh, or sometimes, like, if I've just been a little bit too jovial and they're not, so it's not always that person, but maybe I'm not judging it, but, like, when you feel, you know, it's different, whereas don't, like, amazing, like, imagine if we could just explain to each other and we could just say, look, it's not you, and vice versa. I don't explain it well, but if we could just say, like, it's not you, it's not a reflection on you, I'm just feeling this way today.
Yeah.
What I need from this situation is, like, a bit more time alone.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go for a walk alone, or, like, this is what can you imagine if we could just say that? But we don't, so we just we second guess each other all the time.
Yeah.
And then ourselves all the time within that. Where did we even start with this?
Well, but it makes sense, because I think the thing that I've learned from that situation, I think it's similar to yours, is that, like, when you're given the space to be yourself, your strengths will shine and be noticed. But when you are not given any space for that whatsoever, you're going to always be shut down. Like, if the other person is always going to be on the defensive, your strength's never going to be able to win that situation. Sometimes it's just the wrong situation to be in.
True.
Like,
being in situations and relationships that allow you to be yourself. And people always say this. I struggle with it sometimes, because I think when you can play a part a little bit, and when you can be more on people's, like, I don't know, when you can sort of give them more of what they need, I feel like if they reject you for it, it's not as insulting, because it's not really personally you. Whereas if you are just yourself, or you are really, you know, for me that would be, I don't know, I guess I'd be quite, like, loud and boisterous, or I'd be a bit, like, childish, or make a lot of jokes. Then sometimes I'd flip it out and be really deep, whatever, like, who knows, with me. But then if you are given the space to do that, and then someone pulls you apart for it, that feels more, like, terrifying.
Yeah.
That's why it's, like, it's quite a brave thing to be, like, that vulnerable.
Yeah.
But it kind of, again, I from the start of this podcasting session, I wanted to bring the let them theory in. I did, right? But it's the same. It's like, yeah, I think you can only be who you are, and highlight your strengths to people, and then it's down to them
to receive them
or to not, but that's still down to them.
Yeah.
And that's their problem. It's a you problem. It's not a me problem. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be who you are, and you ask questions, you're inquisitive, that you're enthusiastic about things you care about. If people don't see that, or they pull you apart from it, it's the strength to be like, that doesn't reflect on how I feel about myself. Like, that's what you think, but I know. I know what and it's like, I'll let you feel that, and that's fine. But that's hard. It's hard to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you made a very good point when you were saying about like how like someone's just like not in the mood for something today. Like, I definitely am like someone who will turn serious situations into a joke if I don't want to go there.
Sure.
So like, that's something like I will definitely do in like my relationship for sure, is that like I will deal with a serious topic by like laughing about it.
Sure.
But I actually mean like, no, this is serious, but like but I feel like the only way I can actually say it is by laughing, and I think that also is just because I tend to be quite a light-hearted person. Like, I know how easy it is for me to turn a room around. You know, whether it's going into a meeting at work with a shitty client, or whether it's having a conversation with somebody who I don't usually jive with, or whether it's having a deep conversation with, or an analysis, I guess, conversation with a partner or whatever. I know that my attitude can change that room very quickly.
Sure.
So the more lighthearted I can go into it, the other person might be on the defensive, but I can turn it around very quickly. Just by being light. And I think that you were saying about like, is that your true self, or is that like a defense mechanism? And I think like for sure it's a defense mechanism because otherwise you're bringing so much into that situation. If I go into a shitty meeting with a client and I'm being light and fluffy, if they want to be a dick, then it's not on me, is it?
True.
Whereas if I go in and I'm like standing my ground and I'm like, like, this is, who I am, and you take it or you leave it. Like, well, we're two people with swords, or...
But that's where it's not, like, defense mechanisms don't always have to be, they can serve you. They can serve you well. Like you say, the ability to lighten and to put your own sort of beliefs and feelings aside, and to be able to lighten the mood is actually quite a strength. And I don't think it's... Some people will say, like, I get it. Like, I have friends who are like, oh, but I'm being so, like, inauthentic if I do that. And I'm like, no, not really.
No.
Like, if it's helping you and it's helping the situation, that's okay to park. Being authentic doesn't mean you have to be true to your feelings all the time. It means you regulate your feelings enough to still be present in a room. And that's... It is so strength to have.
Absolutely.
Like, we can't all just tell people what we feel about every situation all the time, always.
No.
Like, the world would not survive.
No.
It would be
100%. And I also think
carnage.
Like, I catch myself on this. This is something that I like, really, I feel like as I've gotten older is something I've worked on, especially in relationships, but I think it feeds into other things too, is like, I think it's very easy sometimes if you do take things really seriously and you always want to be your complete true self, to almost be slightly manipulative in that sense, because you're so let's take an argument for an example. Like, if I want to cry but instead I'm laughing, but me crying I think is actually a little bit manipulative, because it's already adding in that level of emotion that we don't really need to have part of that discussion. So actually, by bringing something in a little bit more lighthearted, it means we can have a real conversation that maybe I'm like not being completely open with my actual feelings, but are my feelings going to get us anywhere? If
Sure.
I went into every meeting at work being like, these are my qualms I have with you this week, like I am feeling like, if I said to my manager, I'm feeling like you have been a bit short with me, or you have, I'm not appreciating that you've been interrupting me in this team meeting or whatever, and I go in with that agenda, I feel like I am kind of forcing an outcome, which is like, I want you to apologize to me for that.
Right.
Why? What do I get out of that? I know that I have those strengths in that area. If they wanted to behave that way, I'm going to let them,
Let them theory.
Exactly.
With that said, I don't think you should judge yourself for either approach, because I think there probably will be a time and place where you do need to challenge something, and it's down to you and your discretion and what you need from that situation to judge whether that is the right approach.
Very true.
It's the same with like if you're having difficulties with a manager, say, and sometimes what you need to do is just laugh it off, brush it off, and maybe just, have a little bit of a debrief with another colleague afterwards to be like, oh, like this was a really difficult conversation, what do you think I should do? And then just to their face be super nice, and because you have to get along with this person, they manage you, or any colleague, right? But then other times, if it gets a little bit too far, you actually probably do need to have the sit down. So, but you can judge whether, like, what you need from that and when you need it. And then you're not always going to get it right. Like, you're going to I often pitch things completely wrong. Like, I'll read a room wrong. Oftentimes, I'll come in and everyone's, like, seemingly quiet, so I'm trying to, like, get everyone going, and I'm, like, just make a joke, but it's, like, falls flat, and it's the worst thing. You sort of crawl under the table. But then that's how you learn. Like, it's fine. That's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You can't always get it right.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you just have to... Sorry.
No,
I just then thought of something else.
No, tell me.
Sometimes there are the days that I'll have where I'm like, I cannot exist for other people today. I'm just going to have to be there. Like, take me as I come.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be the person that walks into the room and is quiet, and I'm just not switched on, and I'm just going to sit there, and someone else is going to try and make me feel better, and I'm just going to be, like, completely, like, can't do it today.
Yeah.
So, it's good. It works both ways.
Absolutely. You got to pick and choose your battles for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very good point. Like, I'm not saying at all, like, mask your emotions because you shouldn't have them out there. Like, definitely you should, but I think it's important to pick
Time and place.
the time and place, and to prep yourself for that too as well. Like, I think that's part of being strong and knowing your strengths, is to know when to bring them to the table. Like, I don't need to go into every single situation in my life quizzing the other person on absolutely every possible outcome. Like, that's just not healthy. And like, there's many areas in life where you don't want that. Like, if Ali needs to go to a shop somewhere, right, I don't go to him, or I try not to, at least. Why? Because I want this. Why do you want that? Because of this. Why have you thought about this? You know, like, I'm not doing that in that situation, because it's like, you pick and choose, even though, like, it might have helped me save some time if I knew exactly why we were going to that place, and I can say, by the way, we have that in the cupboard at home,
Yeah, sure.
Like,
sure,
but
sure.
I'd rather
it's not going to really do any kind of favors.
Exactly. It's like, it'll exhaust me, it'll annoy the other person, and it's just not worth
unnecessary.
it. Like, but there are other situations where you do need to have that forethought, because it helps you in the long run. So I think it is definitely pick and choose.
Tell me, what was the title of this episode? I need to remind
know your
myself.
strengths.
Know your strengths.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something about strengths, honestly.
Yeah, know strengths. And knowing them is helpful.
It was just my little epiphany. Knowing when to use them, I think, is helpful as well.
Yeah, it's true.
What would you say that your biggest strength is?
I do think it's the communication and the, like, adapting my communication to meet other people's needs. Like, like I've pointed out how I can be a weakness in a sense as well. But I think I do ask questions. I do value that, and I value that in other people. Like, even when I have students that I'm coaching on their placements, I would much rather, like, 100 times much rather, have someone who comes in, doesn't really know the environment, or maybe it needs to brush up on their knowledge, but asks a ton of questions, because I think it shows like lack of ego, commitment to growth.
They're interested in what you're having to say.
Yeah, I think it shows more in terms of their character, as opposed to someone who's like super knowledgeable and competent, but is arrogant with it. I think that's more dangerous. I think that danger occurs in the workplace when you don't check yourself or check in with other people. So yeah, questions, and then I don't know. I think like I've been reminded of this as a strength recently. And it's not just a strength in the workplace, but I think it's more of a strength in, like, my relationships, my relationship with myself, my own kind of mental well-being, is the ability to, like, not take things seriously. And I don't think it's a strength as much as something I've had to practice. And again, this is where I said in the previous podcast about, like, how important it is to surround yourself with the right people, because I have a colleague who I've spoken to you about before, and actually she's quite a serious person as well, but I think when we're together, because it's such a stressful environment, we just kind of, like, give each other the permission and facilitate each other's silliness. So, like, I think I've used an example before, but we had the spider on a ceiling the other day. I told you about it, right?
Yeah.
We were, like, rating the like agility of the spider, so we were holding up little papers for when the spider was doing something ridiculous, stupid. But it's that kind of thing that gets me through the work day.
Yeah.
And it's the same when you don't take things seriously, like the ability to, like, so we were driving to my dad's house today, and he had like tools in the back of the boot, and a couple of things had happened, and it was just like, he was like, it's not my day. And then the toolbox all fell over, and all the screws, like, and we could have been like, or he could have been like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I just laughed, and I think because I laughed and the mood was lighter, and I was like, Dad, that's like, things come in threes. Like, I think you're clear for the rest of the day. He was playing golf with your dad, so in afternoon. So I was like, probably means you're gonna have a great golf round. And you know, the ability to just see the funny side, because shit's gonna happen.
Yes.
Things are stressful anyway. You may as well make light of them.
I
do
that.
think it's not even a personal strength to me. I think it's just a strength in general to be able to not take yourself seriously.
And you'd be surprised how few people, I think when you say don't take people seriously, or not take yourself too seriously, you're talking about not take the little things in life.
Yeah,
Like, don't
course,
make mountains out of molehills.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's honestly such an underrated skill.
Well, have fun.
Yeah, like there's so, I think I could just think of like a gazillion people who I've met in my life who, and I've definitely done it in the past too, and that's something I've like been reactive.
Yeah.
And something that I definitely don't think I am now, but I remember this is one of the reasons. I mean, this is TMI for the podcast if the podcast is being listened to by certain people, but not TMI if it's listened to other people. But when I used to be on the pill, I was so emotional and reactive.
Yeah, that's not TMI.
And that was like one of the things that when I went off it, I was like, I'm actually so laid back.
Okay,
and like little things like knocking my drink over in the pub, whatever, I'll just buy another one. Like, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
You know, but that kind of thing would have set me off.
Yeah,
you know, a couple of years earlier. So there's so many little things like that, and it's an underrated skill for sure.
It actually reminds me, like, it makes me feel like it reminds me of like my inner child as well.
Yeah.
Like just having fun with having fun.
Yeah. And just not making things awkward either.
Yeah.
Because like I remember I went on a date with a guy once, and we were sat in the park, and this dog came over to us. And it was really cute. We gave it a little tickle, and then it cocked its leg and peed on his jacket. And I thought this was fucking hilarious. I mean, it was like the tiniest little cockapoo thing. It come over from seat to side, and then it literally pissed on this guy's jacket. I think that's hilarious, right? Like, you just watch it. He did not find it funny, and I was like, "We're not going on another date." Like, that's it, because he was like,
"That's gonna get you,"
visibly like, you know, agitated by it. I'm like, I'm gonna have to wash this now.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's a jacket. Like, get over yourself.
No,
like,
exactly.
I just think
it's an indicator.
It does not matter. Like,
it's just an indicator for like bigger things that happen.
Yeah, it's like, are you going to be annoyed every single time you press the kettle on, it doesn't boil?
Yeah.
Or like, or just you drop the carton of eggs on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, these are little annoyances in life, but like, they happen all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
but life is, if you let it, life will swallow you up, and it will just all be negative and serious all the time.
Yeah.
You have to, like, being a little bit goofy, I think, is so healthy.
Definitely.
So healthy.
Love that.
So yeah, I don't know, maybe that's the take home.
I love that. It's a great point to end on as well, because I feel very upbeat right now. So I love that. It was really good, Car. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Great podcast theme subject. Yes.
Great session.
Good sesh.
Well, thank you so much for listening to the podcast, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Let us know your strengths too. Let's have like a little like boost ourselves up section in the comments. I don't think what someone might start it off. So Alana, if you're listening,
please.
Or we could just like get Ali to do it.
Yeah. He's already given us a 5-star rating and review.
Oh, okay. I need to get some people on board with this. But thanks, guys. Come back next week for some more Utterly Unfiltered.
We shall.
Yeah.
Love you lots. Bye.
Bye.